Hey guys, thanks again for joining me on Sealed for Good. Today I'm covering on what you need to remember when waterproofing renovation projects. And the renovation market is on the increase. We're seeing that around the country, particularly with the way that the cost of real estate is these days. Many people are deciding to renovate instead of building from new or going elsewhere, staying put and renovating. And the good sign is for waterproofers is that people understand that is it a project they need to get an expert specialist in to do that work. However, we've got lots of experience when it comes to renovations, and you need to understand that you may not always be presented with the same circumstances you get when you're tackling a new home or a new building. So what are the key things you need to remember with this situation? Well, firstly, when let's use a bathroom as an example. If that bathroom is going to be renovated and you're going to remove old tiles, or someone may have removed all that for you, and this could be the same case for a balcony. You need to understand what the substrate is. If it's concrete, okay, that's an easy one. You need to check out the state of it, understand it's in a nice solid sound state. However, if it's a structural sheeting, you might find that from when that home was originally built, that some of the structural sheeting may be a product that actually is not recommended for wet areas anymore, or you can't even find the data that relates to the information on what that surface is. And then what do you do? Well, the one thing you do is you don't take any risks. So you need to understand what's involved there. Take photos of that substrate. If you need, you can push them through to our technical services department. We can help you, guide you on what that substrate might be. But see if you can find out as many details as you can from the owner or the builder or whoever owns that asset to understand what they actually did at the start. The one that always comes to mind for me, there's two things that come to mind. Firstly, asbestos. You can get caught out where people say it's cement sheeting and it actually could have been an asbestos surface. And if you've got any doubts on that, you cannot even take any risks. So you must understand that if they can't confirm it, to protect yourself and the client and the tenant, get a specialist in to do an inspection and give you 100% confirmation of what that is before you go ahead with any work. And the other one that comes to mind is timber. Okay, I know back in the late 80s and early 90s, a lot of timber surfaces were used, particularly for wet area flooring, and surprisingly even for external wet area flooring. And you need to understand how that timber's been installed. What do you need to do to reinforce it as a timber sheeting? And you're not going to waterproof directly over that. You need to put isolating barrier over that. And our best scenario there is that if you can screw and glue and reinforce that timber sheeting, is to go ahead with our GC2 system. The GC2 that will give you the highest strength and a decoupling property, which protects the top substrate, the screed, the tile finish from any movement from below. If you need more details on that, you know where to come. But with things like balconies as well, particularly balconies, but it comes up with wet areas with water stops and doorways, etc. You could be inheriting something that no longer complies with the way the Australian standards are or the building code. And so if it doesn't look right, then that suspicion you've got means that you need to go further with that suspicion and check it out. Because if you take on that work and you start to waterproof it, you inherit that problem, not whoever did it 20, 30 years ago. So remember that. So in that situation there, if you're not convinced that the falls or the set downs are where they need to be, hold off, take a good check and a good look. If that needs to be, you need to work with the builder or the renovator, and there may be a situation where those windows need to come out, the doors need to come out, and get it done properly. Don't be the mug that people say, oh, don't worry about it, just we're going to keep those windows, we're going to keep those doors. Because if there's a leak, particularly for external works, you're going to inherit that issue. And the problem is with renovations is that sometimes with all the new works that happen and some of the changes that occur, particularly with increased heights of flooring, that means that when you get rain and you get weather out there, the pressures and the extremes on that flooring now are far greater than before, and you can find that the water leaks can actually happen beyond the membrane work you do. And that's all about those set downs, and we spend a lot of time in this area. If you want more information on it, come our way, get hold of Tech Services, we can help you there. But these are little hacks you need to understand before you just go for it. Even things like drains. The drainage systems could have changed, the regulations could have changed. Cover all these items off Firstly, understand the substrate is compliant, then understand that all the works like drains and set downs are where they need to be at the moment in terms of our current building code. And thirdly, the products you select to go over the top, it may not be your general waterproof membrane. So things like a liquid system, it might not be suffice. You may need to go an under and over system with screed, or go to the sheet system that can give you the extra reinforcement. Let your client know that this is a renovation that you are trying to give them a long-term warranty and solution for. They're going to the cost of a renovation over a new build, so let's do it properly. They work with you. Always come out from a good position that you're trying to help them, and if they're a client worth having, they'll believe you and work with you. Any more questions on this, come our way with tech services, and don't forget to subscribe to Sealed for Good. All the answers are here. See you next time.